Future Canoe is going to be making a Beef Wellington. Well, he's going to be making a 3 Michelin star version of the Beef Wellington. So let's see how this turns out. Now, let's get started.
Questo piatto è il beef alla Wellington.
I've never seen a beef Wellington made this way before. I feel like most people on the internet just makes it the way that Gordon Ramsay does it, like that. This beef Wellington is perfectly cooked and has really unique decorations on top. It looks so next level that it makes the Gordon Ramsay version looks like I made it.
Now, we did review Gordon Ramsay's Beef Wellington a few years ago, and he did an excellent job. And to be honest, making a Beef Wellington, even to the point of Ramsay, is quite a feat. And if you're going to be trying to make a 3 Michelin star version of it, then woohoo, you have a lot in store for you, because there's a lot of work that goes into making everything in a Michelin star restaurant.
Found out that the Connaught is well known for making rich Europeans happy. Their bar was named best bar in the world and has multiple Michelin star restaurants on site. This is their head chef, Marco Zampese, and he's pretending to read a book.
Now, if you're wondering where this hotel is, it's actually based in Mayfair, London. And just one night stay in this hotel for one of the cheaper rooms cost about £750. What? And if you're going to be eating in the Michelin star restaurant as well, then I suggest saving your pennies. You're going to need them.
Che ha questo colore bianco giallastro.
So the first step is to trim your fillet to get the centerpiece, or you can call it Chateaubriand if you want to seem educated.
Oh, the Chateaubriand is very tasty, and depending on where you live, it will change a little bit on where its location is. But what they're using is the center cut, not the tail, because with the tail, the beef tenderloin, it tends to flatten out a bit and it doesn't have the same shape. So they're trying to get or cut a piece of meat that is more cylindrical and more uniformal.
Non andiamo a buttar via la testa e la coda del filetto.
I think he's trying to be nice to his line cook on camera here. When you go back, you can clearly see this guy nervously laughing while Marco has a Joker smile. Maybe when they turn off the camera, Marco starts asking for the lamb sauce.
Where's the lamb sauce? Right here.
For everyone that's worked in a kitchen, I know you can relate, especially if you worked over here in Europe. The European kitchens are not the same as the American kitchens.
How long on that lamb? Never thought I'd say that.
No. Listen, don't come here. Hey, I'm helping you.
Yeah.
Yeah? Don't take the piss out of me.
Sorry.
I'm helping you. So what the are you shouting at me how long
Sorry,
the lamb?
chef.
Or are you that stupid? So I'm here to help you, and now you're shouting at me how long the lamb.
Yeah.
Slice the lamb.
Yeah.
So the improvisation is gonna start earlier than expected, as my whole food doesn't have whole fillet, so I have to piece them together. Looking at this pieced up Chateaubriand, I realize we're off to a pretty low end start. But like many things involving meat, tying things up always brings extra excitement.
Future Canoe lives in New York City and he couldn't find any whole beef tenderloin. It's a little hard to believe.
A questo punto, con il nostro filetto pulito, lo andiamo a condire con del sale e del pepe.
This step is pretty intuitive, as all meat dishes start with salting and peppering. Just make sure you do all sides.
Lo andiamo a rotolare con della pellicola molto stretto. Poi ovviamente a casa, se non avete abbastanza tempo, un paio d'ore saranno sufficiente.
And then we'll wrap the meat in plastic, only done in this context.
The reason why the chef is using the clear film is to help give the solomillo, or the beef tenderloin, more of a cylindrical shape. And by putting it in the fridge, we not only keep it cold, which is important for food safety, but it helps to firm the beef tenderloin.
Lo andiamo a rosolare molto velocemente in una padella con dell'olio d'oliva, perché ovviamente non vogliamo danneggiare la cottura della carne.
And if you heard the chef, he's using olive oil to sear the beef.
While the pan is heating, we'll unwrap the fillet and briefly dry it. When the oil is nice and hot, we'll start searing.
Adesso vediamo Timothy che prende il filetto raffreddato e lo andrà a spalmare con della senape di Dijon.
He said Dijon, so we're gonna slather this piece of meat with mustard, which is also the only seasoning used in this dish besides salt and pepper.
But I forget if Ramsay put English mustard or Dijon on it. I'll have to go see that video again. And if you haven't seen our review of Gordon Ramsay making that, then you should definitely check out that review after seeing this video.
Se avete grosse quantità, potete ovviamente utilizzare magari un frullatore.
To make the mushroom duxelle, I'm gonna go with the chef's mix. Chef's blank is the perfect marketing strategy to trick people like me who can't make up their minds. Like chef's selection of sushi, chef's garden salad, or chef's recommendation of wine pairings. The name makes you think there's somebody in the back kitchen carefully selecting these options for you. But the truth is, they're mostly just trimmings from the kitchen that the chef doesn't know what to do with. And speaking of not knowing what to do,
This is true, it is a marketing strategy. just to make you spend more money on something that you can easily just buy independently, which is cheaper and you get more of it. Now, my Italian is very rusty, but I think the chef said that if you have a large quantity, you can obviously use a blender of some sort to blend the mushrooms instead of slicing them up. It makes the job a lot faster.
Andiamo a riscaldare dell'olio e del burro.
I'm gonna do medium-high heat with a tablespoon of oil and 2 tablespoons of butter.
Oh, look at that. Even a 3 Michelin star chef is mixing olive oil with butter. And I've mentioned this a few times and been hackled about it in the comments for doing so.
Mettiamo lo scalogno tritato e lo facciamo soffriggere molto lentamente.
Get ready for some professional chopping footage.
As the chef was saying, you want to cook the shallots slowly until they turn translucent. If you caramelize them, they will get sweeter, which if you want, that's fine.
Durante la cottura condiremo con del sale e del pepe.
Mushrooms in, season it, and mix well.
Tutta l'acqua di vegetazione evaporata, aggiungeremo del prezzemolo tritato.
Mixing a handful of chopped parsley, transfer it into a small baking sheet, and cool.
Basically, that's it. But it's important to add the parsley later at the end instead of at the beginning. Also, it's important to cut the mushrooms a little smaller than what Future Canoe cut them.
Andrà a sbattere delle uova con una frusta, dopodiché aggiungeremo un po' di latte.
So I looked ahead and find out he's making crepes here. I don't know how to make it, so I asked ChatGPT. You can follow its exact same recipe, but here's what I used. Just combine them all together and add a little bit of this green stuff he's doing here. I think it's chives or parsley.
It also could be chervil.
Così quando rotoliamo il nostro Wellington.
Brushing a little bit of butter. Well, it looks easy enough. We'll put a little thin layer of batter in the middle of the pan. Once it looks ready, we'll just toss and flip like that guy did in the video.
I have a feeling this isn't going to turn out too well. I mean, just look at it.
Don't worry, we'll remake the crepe. This time we'll make it smaller so it's easy to work with.
Aye, that's the spirit. Never give up.
They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom!
Who would have thought? Jamie saves the day. And the sugar tax is another matter.
I mean, the word tax is not something that people see for good, but this is a tax for good.
William andrà a formare un rettangolo con delle fette di prosciutto.
Look, he's chatting up his line cook again. I think the conversation went like this. Hey William, what did Mario say to Princess Peach when they were breaking up? What, chef? He said, I'm sorry, Peach. It's not you. It's me, Mario. That's funny, chef.
This is what happens when you have too much time on your hands.
Poniamo sopra un foglio di pellicola il nostro prosciutto crudo.
Now we're gonna place a layer of prosciutto crudo.
Cerchiamo di fare uno spessore di circa mezzo centimetro aiutandoci con una spatola.
And then on top of that, the mushroom duxelle from earlier.
Filetto di manzo con la senape e rotoliamo il tutto ben stretto, sempre appunto avvolgendo la pellicola.
But he keeps using the word película. Now in Spanish, película is like a film, it's a movie. But the saran wrap or the film that we use in the kitchen, everyone here just uses the word film, not película.
I really like this technique of pressing down instead of twisting the ends. It makes the whole thing less messy and also it looks good. As I'm rolling, I realize my prosciutto is not long enough to cover my whole fillet, so I have to go the vertical way. And then I realized even the vertical way is not long enough to cover the fillet. So I'm just gonna have to do some surgeries of opening things and patching them up.
Oh my goodness, if you run into this issue, it's best to lay everything out again, make it a little longer, add some more prosciutto to the piece that you have. You need the tension on the film so it's more cylindrical. Otherwise it won't be the same shape.
Tutti questi passaggi sembrano molto banali.
Then we'll repeat the same technique with the crepes. I'm having a lot of trouble wrapping it because the size of the meat is too big. Here's a sentence I never thought I'd say.
Well, drinking the night before doesn't help at all, does it? Now, I hope that he cut the strings before he put this in the puff pastry, because if you forget, you end up cutting into it, and this has happened before. I've seen someone do this, and you have to pull out the strings later, and it's not very good, especially if you serve that to a guest. This is a big, 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 big issue.
Egg washing the surface.
Arrotoliamo il tutto abbastanza stretto, ma non troppo, altrimenti andiamo a rompere la sfoglia.
Same technique again as before with the pastry sheet.
You roll out the sheet until more or less the same size of this other sheet.
E nei lati andiamo a chiudere con una forchetta.
We're almost there. We're gonna egg wash the whole surface, tugging the corners, and then seal it up with my Ligma fork.
If we look at this picture, it's a good idea to cut off the excess puff pastry, because if not, it's just gonna puff up.
E ci andiamo ad aggiungere qualche decorazione. Nel nostro caso ci metteremo delle trecce e delle foglioline fatte di pasta sfoglia.
I was watching the chef decorate the puff pastry so beautifully, and then all of a sudden I saw Future Canoe's looking for an editor. Trust me, I know the struggle of Future Canoe.
A casa ovviamente potete sbizzarrirvi con qualsiasi altra forma.
I prepared some decorations just like the ones he had in the video. And before you start doubting me, here's the proof that I braided them myself. So after egg washing them,
Future Canoe did a very good job braiding the puff pastry. The flowers, not so much, but the braids, very good. It comes in handy if you have to braid hair.
first braided string is gonna be used to cover up that ugly seam that's been bothering me for the past hour. Followed by another one across to make people think it's Christmas. And then we'll let the leaves fall there, and there.
Poi ci mettiamo anche delle foglie di timo, un po' di pepe e del fleur de sel.
I think the chef said he's using fleur de sel. Or Malden sells another if you can't get fleur de sel.
And then we'll use our tweezer to place thyme flowers all over the Wellington so that it looks like an adhesive fruit fly trap.
There's a bit of a big difference between the two, but whatever.
Finally, we'll finish it with salt and pepper. Honestly, if you put them side to side, I cannot tell you the difference. I'm glad that my end result looks exactly like the original one.
I think besides looking for an editor, getting some glasses may help. Or contacts.
But we still gotta check with Instagram.
What's poppin'? Brand new whip, just hopped in. I got options. I can pass it like Stockton.
Sometimes I love reading comments. There's grandma's big toe.
Andremo a mettere il nostro filetto alla Wellington direttamente sulla placca di metallo, circa 25.
Place the Wellington directly on top of a tray and then bake for about 25 minutes. Mine's a little smaller, so I'm gonna go with 18.
Come vedete ha un bel colore dorato.
So firstly, the oven that the chef is using is a combi oven. It's Rationale. It's one of the most famous companies in the professional kitchens, and they're fantastic ovens. If you can get one, but they're super expensive. Combi oven means that it's not only a convection oven, a normal oven, but it can also steam. So you can literally dial down to the percent of steam that you want and the temperature.
Per una cottura
Alright, time's up, and this Wellington is looking, honestly, kind of on the light side.
A little more color is not the help that I think it needs.
Later.
Alright, after another 5 minutes, didn't really make much of a difference. But honestly, I'm pretty proud of myself for this one. It's not exactly the same as the one in the video, but I think it still looks pretty good.
Future Canoe, you did a good job. Not to worry, it's not easy making a beef Wellington. Trust me, it is very, very hard, especially the first time. But you do have to admit that this one resembles more of a pufferfish than it does a beef Wellington.
vediamo che la cottura è al sangue.
I know he cooked it to the perfect temperature, but if you ask me how it looks, I'd say let's check out some YouTube chefs Wellington and see how they look.
It's fucking raw! Fucking raw!
And for me, if you want a really nice change.
To be fair, Gordon's beef Wellington was cooked more than the others. Future Canoe, you forgot to add Joshua Wiseman's beef Wellington. He did a pretty good job as well. But personally speaking, it really depends on how you like your beef cooked. If you want it more cooked, that's fine. But normally it should be like medium.
But anyways, all kiddings aside, let's cut my Wellington open and check it out.
Here's the moment. Let's take a bet. Do you think that this is going to be perfect, like al punto, perfect, medium? Or do you think it's going to be a little underdone?
It's raw.
Why does it look like that? What's up with the great band around the beef? As I put my Beef Wellington in the thumbnail position, I found a clip of Nick saying things I needed to hear.
Now hear me out here. Sometimes on camera, things can look weird. And from what I can tell right now, this looks perfect.
So my camera makes it look a little weird, but from what I can tell, it looks perfect.
Depending on what type of camera you use, it can really mess with the coloring. It really can. But that doesn't have anything to do with, you can clearly see that it's a little too undercooked in the center.
Il nostro lo finiremo semplicemente con un beef jus al Madeira, perché la qualità della carne appunto è molto importante per me e non voglio coprire appunto con la dolcezza delle cranberries.
If I heard that right, the type of sauce that he's using complements the beef with the cranberries, the sweetness, and it doesn't make it too sour or too sweet.
Al giorno d'oggi esistono molte varianti del beef alla Wellington.
I ran out of patience a long time ago, so let's get to eating. We'll first cut a thick piece and set it aside, transfer it onto a plate, and then cover it with the beef jus we made off camera. Now we can dig in with a Ligma fork and a big knife. I almost forgot to tell you that I untied those pieces earlier. Now I'm gonna pick up a piece and just appreciate it for a moment.
Thank goodness he untied it.
What the fuck?
Alright, it's time to taste.
Sorry to say, but I think it's time to retire the Ligma fork.
The butteriness from the pastry sheet and the umami from the mushroom duxelle is working together to emphasize the delicate flavors from the beef fillet. But I think I should have left it in the oven a couple minutes longer because both the beef and the pastry sheet is a little bit underdone. But overall the flavors are very vibrant. This makes me want to go to the Connaught in London and try a real piece there. But for now I'd have to settle for this. Alright, thank you.
Now, while he had to use a lot of substitutions and the puff pastry was a little off and a few other things were a little different, still, Future Canoe, you did a very good job. It is not an easy dish to make. Practice makes perfect, and trust me, if you keep practicing and keep making it, it'll get a little easier. Hopefully all of you enjoyed this video and, well, learned a little something as well and had a laugh. And if you did, then be sure to give the video a like and a share. But most importantly, everyone, let's hit the subscribe button. Try to catch up with Future Canoe. Who knows? Future Canoe, if you would like to do a collab, then I'm all ears. I would love to come to New York and do a collab with you. So let me know. Be sure to check out this next video coming up here, and I will see all of you again soon. Until then, take care.